Professional speaker, author, and meeting culture warrior, Al Pittampalli is shaking up the status quo. An advisor to Fortune 500, nonprofit, and government organizations, Al is leading a movement dedicated to transforming meetings in the workplace. He helps us understand that a culture of more purposeful meetings dramatically increases speed and productivity for the entire organization.
So here's what I came to talk to you about today. This thing called meetings. This thing that a lot of you spend a lot of your time doing, attending, leading, I think is fundamentally broken. When we think about the word organization, when we think about the promise of an organization, basically what it is that multiple people working together in concert can do way more than they can individually. That's why you work in groups, right? You can do more good, more philanthropy, more service to the world in different countries by working together. But the primary tool that we've used to do this is the meeting, and I think it's way behind its time.
The internet has changed probably every fundamental part of the way you guys do business, right? The economy is in constant flux. I mean, gas prices are all over the place. Travel habits of consumers are changing. I mean, I just got this article off the web a couple days ago. It looks like one of your largest competitors is now entering the hourly rental market. I mean, things are changing just at this rapid pace. And the meeting has always been at the heart of how we deal with change, right? It's how we gather for decisions, communication, collaboration on the most important issues of the day. So if the meeting is broken, so is the way that we deal with change. What I want to propose today is a modern meeting optimized for modern times. But if we want to do that, we can't just make the meeting better. I think we need to fundamentally rethink what a meeting is. Because we can't know what a meeting should be if we don't know what a meeting is.
But there's a problem. The biggest of which is a diffusion of responsibility. See, my decision quickly becomes our decision as soon as we step into the meeting room. Now, scientists will call this the bystander effect. They'll tell you that the same reason why no one in a meeting room owns up and takes accountability for a decision is the same reason why when 50 people are on a street watching a petty crime happening, no one picks up the phone and calls the police. Now, in a world where the issues of the day fall neatly within the org chart, well, maybe this doesn't make that big of a difference. But what happens when your world changes? What happens when this thing called the internet fundamentally changes philanthropy and how donors connect with recipients? What happens when private institutions change the metrics for how they evaluate who they're going to give their money to?
A former IT advisor at Ernst Young, Al Pittampalli witnessed the meeting problem firsthand while working on site with Fortune 1000 companies. Ever since, Al has been on a crusade to help organizations work together more efficiently. His book, Read This Before Our Next Meeting, was downloaded 80,000 times in its first 7 days, making it the most popular Kindle book in the world during the week of its release. It explains how to make meetings focused, powerful, and worthy of attending.
See, 70 years ago, if you worked at a factory and the factory owner needed to tell you something, well, that's what they'd do. They'd have a meeting, right? They'd come down to the factory floor, they'd pull you off the assembly line, and they would tell you what they needed to tell you. Well, this was incredibly expensive, incredibly interruptive, incredibly wasteful, but what are you going to do 70 years ago? Fast forward to today, we are living in a different age. We are living in a communication revolution. The number of options we have is abundant, yet we're still acting like we're working at a 1970s factory. See, what we have today is asynchronous communication. That's the kind where both parties don't have to be engaged at the same time in order to communicate. So many of you are so busy drowning in email, we forget how much of a miracle it is. So Salman Khan understands this better than anyone. So Salman Khan, a lot of you are probably familiar with Khan Academy. He was a hedge fund guy who wanted to tutor his cousins in his spare time. Problem was they were halfway across the world. So timing was becoming a problem. So what he did was he started recording himself giving tutorial videos and posting them online to YouTube. So what he expected happened. His cousins loved the videos, they learned from them. What he didn't expect is that the videos would spread. That millions of people all over the world would come to watch Salman Khan's videos and learn everything from algebra, from other subjects as well. See, Sal Khan's brilliant insight was this. You only get 50 minutes with the instructor. That time is scarce. That time is expensive. So let's use it for what it's good for. It turns out it's not good for the script for the lesson. We can record that and we can give it to the student at home. What it's good for is everything else. The coaching, the training, the going over the interesting stuff, the complex stuff, right? So Salman Khan is leading a revolution because he's asking this question, what is live for? Well, what's live for us? What's live for in organizations when time is so scarce? Well, I'm going to argue that the meeting was a communication tool. That's what it was, but it's not anymore. The modern meeting is a coordination tool. So here's a small recap for you. The meeting used to make decisions. It doesn't do that anymore. It resolves them. And the modern meeting, it's not a communication tool. It's now a coordination tool. So as I wrap up here, I want to tell you this. The modern meeting fundamentally is a special event. It doesn't happen all the time. It's scarce, it's rare, but when it does, it becomes this powerful tool for change. The reason why this is so critically important and why I'm here talking to you today is because of something Peter Drucker said. We either meet or we work. We can't do this. We can't do both at the same time. So I'm going to make a guess here. The people in this room, this audience, this world of philanthropy, you didn't get into this business for the money. Is that a safe bet? You did it for the work, the real work. It turns out the meeting isn't where that happens. The meeting is where we coordinate the real work, plan the real work, talk about the real work, but it's not the real work. No, in fact, the meeting insulates us from the real work. So here's my fundamental question for you. In a world without any meetings, what exactly do you do for a living? What is that scary thing that you've been avoiding for so long that now you suddenly have plenty of time for and you're confronted with? That, my friends, is the real work, and that's precisely what we need you to do. Thank you.